Hello, everyone. This is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are exploring the invisible friction that drains energy and stalls growth in even the most successful companies. In 2026, the biggest threat to your business isn't just the competition or the economy, it's the misalignment between how your organization is structured and how humans actually function. Joining us is Sonia Perron, founder and president of SPCTE Inc. With over 30 years of experience, Sonia is the author of Align to Succeed and co creator of the Cell Era model. She specializes in human and organizational alignment, helping leaders bridge the gap between people, roles, and strategy to unlock measurable performance. So, before further ado, let's welcome this special guest. Sonia, welcome to the podcast. Such a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
It's my pleasure, Sonia. You've made quite a name for yourself in the industry, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation today. Now, Sonia, many leaders assume that their performance issues stem from poor strategy or maybe a lack of effort, right? But you argue that the culprit is usually misalignment. So let's start by understanding, why is misalignment a major blind spot, and how does it show up in daily operations? Go ahead.
How do you see that in the daily operations? It's easy. If you talk about the owner of the business, he will be very tired, exhausted. He feels like if he's not in his business, it's not working. And he's sometimes unsatisfied of the results. If you look inside the team, you'll see turnover, you'll see absenteeism, you'll see fatigue, you'll also see a decrease in margin and in productivity.
No, definitely. I think recognizing that friction is a structural issue rather than, a people problem is the first step towards restoring operational flow. On that note, let's now explore why many digital transformations, fail to deliver actual results. So from your perspective and your extensive experience, Sonia, why do business transformations fail, and how does poor role clarity impact technology adoption?
Okay, if we talk about alignment, we talk about having the right people in the right seat, so doing the right roles, and you want a structure that will support and is adapted to humans in your business. So when you're starting a project, by the way, technology is good, it's working. AI is good, it's working. But any project, and technology even more, is just revealing what's not working in your business.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what's happening. And it's like you're building, it's like a house. If your blocks are all well aligned, you can put a first floor, a second floor. But if everything is, shaky, you cannot add more. What's not working in the basic will show up eventually.
No, definitely, I agree with you. What you're trying to say is that the foundation needs to be strong, right? Because only then you will be able to build up on that and, have a successful future. That's great. Before we go any further, here's a special message for all of our listeners, especially to all the leaders watching. In 2026, you cannot tech your way out of a human alignment problem. If your people are misaligned with their roles, adding AI is just going to automate your friction and make your problems move faster. Sonia's work with the Cell Era model proves that performance accelerates only when operations return to their natural flow. Stop buying more tools and start looking at the three parts of the mind: affective, cognitive, and conative. Align your structure to the human first, and technology will finally do the job you bought it for. So, coming back to you, Sonia, I think I completely agree with you. Aligning your organizational design with the human function, it ensures that your technology serves as an accelerator rather than a burden. Now, let's discuss how understanding human wiring improves organizational alignment. So, Sonia, what is this conative mind from a layman's perspective? Firstly, what does it mean, where does it exist, and how exactly does it prevent burnout in team settings?
Okay, so we have to go back 2,000 years ago and more. Aristotle, Plato, they talked about the three parts of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So the cognitive part is really how you reflect. It's all the knowledge. And then you have the affective part, which is everything you're feeling. And the conative part is related to your instinct to act.
Mm-hmm.
And when I said earlier, people, we don't know that we don't know. It's there for more than 2,000 years, but I didn't learn that in school, and most people don't, and we don't have the tools. But the instinct to act is whenever you're doing something, it's taking over. Even though in school we're forced to do things a certain way, but there's our way. And each people has its own way. So the three parts of the mind are working together, like in hockey. The third player in the front, they're playing together. So if they're aligned, you're well equipped, it will go well. But if not, it will not go well. So the three parts of the mind work together. So you can have fatigue from each part of the mind. You can be stressed from each part of the mind. You can have conflicts from each part of the mind, and you can have non-productivity out of the three parts of the mind. So when you understand each person is unique and each person has its own way of functioning with those three parts of the mind, they really need to be aligned, then you work with what they are really good at, so they really have the right role. And then you make sure that the structures you have in place are supporting those human beings, not intellectual structure, because everything we created in society, either the business, the school system, everything is based on knowledge. So it works on paper, but in reality, it doesn't work.
Understanding how someone is, naturally wired to take action, it's a very interesting and much needed concept, because it allows you to build a team where performance feels effortless rather than exhausting, and that's the entire point of it. Great. Now, Sonia, let's look at how the cell era models enables more adaptive and scalable organizations. So firstly, what is the cell era model, and how does this improve structure and performance in organizations?
Okay, so it's the era of the human cell era. So I created that model with my daughter. So we co-wrote that book. So in all the business forever, we're creating system, and then we try to fit people in. So our model is based on sociocracy. And instead of doing that, we're looking at the people that are there and how those people can answer the needs of the business. So it's the human shift I'm talking about for many years right now that we need to do. It's a 180-degree shift that we have to do to make it work, and it's working.
That's very interesting, and also love the analogy that you played with the name there. Adopting a human shift in your business model, I think, it's one of the best ways to remain resilient in an increasingly complex and AI driven market. Finally, Sonia, let's explore how strategic advisory helps leaders scale with clarity and alignment. So, majority of the people who are listening, they're SMB owners and founders and decision makers, right? But for leaders who don't know where to take that first step from, what first step should you tell them to take to identify and then fix these alignment gaps?
Okay, so we have a free alignment test. If ever you want to put the link, it's free. But the first step is really stop creating structure. Because what people do is something goes wrong. Okay, we're going to put more KPI, more structure. How can we fix that intellectually? Stop doing that. Look really, are your people, ask yourself, do I have mental fatigue at the end of the day? Do my people do have mental fatigue? So ask question about people if there is any fatigue. If yes, people are not aligned. It starts with the people. Because if you take the people out of your business, there's no business. We need
Right.
people. So it's not a resource. People are not resource. People are the heart of your business. So it starts with them. So the first step is really to take a step back and look at the fatigue we have, in because you can feel fatigue differently, but do you have mental fatigue? And then say, okay, how can we align ourselves better?
Wow. That answer almost healed a part of me because it was, so straight from the heart. I think removing what drains energy is often more effective for growth than, adding more incentives or higher targets. And that just reminds me that people are any organization's biggest assets, right? You can replace anything, but you just cannot replace the people. So, it was a great reminder by you, Sonia. Thank you so much for that.
You're
I'm loving this
welcome.
conversation, and definitely we'd love to for you to be back. But for now, before we let you go, if there's one final piece of advice that you would like to give to all the CEOs, who see efforts without results, what would you tell them and why?
The first thing you have to ask yourself is, look at what you did in the past. Did it work? If not, maybe you're ready for the human shift we have to do.
Right. That is a great reminder that when you align with nature, performance, it will take care of itself on its own. Sonia, thank you so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
All right, that was Sonia Perron from SPCTE Inc., a masterclass on how to bridge the gap between people and organizations to unlock measurable performance and sustainable growth. To all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more resources. And lastly, a very special thank you to our podcast partners, UPS and ADP, our HR partner, for their ongoing commitment to empowering SMBs across Canada. I'll see you in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.